Hi, this is Phil Potempa, and welcome to another edition of Notoriety. Each week, bringing you everything you want to make sure you mark on the calendar. All those ticket opportunities that are not to be missed happening in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, and beyond. And of course, this is the broadcast equivalent of all of the columns and feature stories you'll read in my flagship Post-Tribune newspaper under the umbrella of Chicago Tribune Media. So sometimes you'll find those stories and that content in our suburban ring of newspapers, or perhaps even in the main edition. We're just so glad that you are along for the ride. Some of you are tuned in through our traditional radio dial on the airwaves as we broadcast from our original studios. When I say original, at least dating to 1956, right here from Hammond, Indiana. Others of you maybe are streaming us. You found us on social media, or perhaps you are looking on YouTube and you decided you would want to join the conversation, and we're so glad you're along for the ride. We couldn't be here without the generosity of our sponsors and underwriters for this broadcast these past 9 years. A history with Legacy Foundation, the Indiana Arts Commission, of course, the generosity of People's Bank, and Andy and Sue Arnold also are along to make sure this broadcast is possible. I'm joined by co-host Tony Panic.
How's it going, everybody?
Luke Miller.
Good morning.
And we are talking about something very funny because we're joined by a guest who is somebody who is going to be headlining to bring that funny to Northwest Indiana and our Chicagoland. He is on the phone lines with us, and we're going to say hello to Michael Pazik. Are you there? Hello, Michael. Hi there. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. And did I say Polisek correct, that last name?
Yeah.
Very
Polisek.
good. All right, we've got it. We've got Michael here for Friday. It's comedy night at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts. It's one of the favorite opportunities. It's a great way to start the new year. Gives us an opportunity to bring some of the funny to our audiences. And Michael, this will be your first time at our Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster, Indiana. But you're an Indiana Hoosier native, at least for some of your timeline. I think, are you part of a military family?
No, my dad is just an accountant that switched jobs a lot.
Okay, an accountant that switches jobs a lot. It's so Wabash, Indiana,
Yeah.
I know is kind of the claim to fame Hoosier kind of connection that we have here, but I know, as you said, your family's traveled some along. That was what caught my attention when it came time for booking some funny talent, and we're so pleased to have you along for a ride for one performance. It's Friday, January the 16th, 7:30 p.m. Again, the Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster, Indiana, 1040 Ridge Road. When is the last time that you've played some Chicagoland dates? Has it been a while, Michael?
Not at all. I was for New Year's Eve. I was in Batavia, Illinois, which is like kind of west of Chicago.
Absolutely, and we should mention also, it is a comedy experience because you've got a counterpart there that's also going to be the opening act to kind of get things rolling and warm up the audience. Give us the name of who you're being joined by for our Friday performance.
Yeah, Jim Flanagan is another Chicagoland area comedian. We kind of started around the same time, and he's very funny. And he's open for Sebastian Maniscalco. He's really, really good.
Yeah, Michael, we're excited to have you, of course, this Friday. But, being a comedian, it's a tough gig, right? Sometimes, the crowds and whatnot. What has been some interesting experiences on the roads as far as being a comedian goes? Because it's such a fascinating life, I find.
People think that the shows are usually, everyone that buys a ticket wants to have a good time. And usually there's, if something happens, they police the room to make sure nothing goes wrong. It's usually the off-the-road stuff.
Yeah.
I was driving to a show in Wisconsin last Saturday, and there was just smoke coming out of my engine.
Oh.
And my radiator blew out in the middle of Wisconsin, and I was just waiting on a tow, and it was snowing. And I called AAA because I have AAA, and there's no one there. They're like, you have to text us. And I'm like, it's like 10 degrees. My fingers are very cold, and I'm outside of my car because it might explode, and I don't know a lot about radiators. So that's the kind of stuff.
Well, and
it was great. I was in Winnipeg right before Christmas doing shows, and it was so cold there. And it was a great week. And then the last day I was there, I come back to my hotel room during the day, and it's raining from the ceiling. And my room is inside.
Oh, no.
But the pipes had exploded above me, and it was just flooding. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, it felt like I was in, like, a Peanuts character where I was sad, and they were showing all the sadness. So it's more like those adventures that sound bad, but they're really just kind of exciting.
Well, so much of your content comes from, again, your everyday wit of interpreting the life and the world that's around you. But I'm curious, a lot of times a comic will say, there's some inspiration that came from. You mentioned Dad was an accountant. Maybe it was Dad that was funny when he was not behind the calculator, or Mom, or maybe you had an aunt or an uncle. Is there family humor that comes there where people just they've got a sharp wit or comeback, or where's it come from, Michael?
I think it comes from a deep desire of having all the attention. That's what I would like to all the time. Both my parents are very funny, but they're just funny characters. Like, they're happy people, and no one knows that. They don't know that they're being laughed at all, and that's the funniest thing. And then I have some family members that, like, my grandpa would make fun of me in a funny way, my brother. And then when I was in college, like, growing up, I always felt like my friends were funny. Like, they weren't necessarily the most popular kids, but they always made me laugh, and I always valued that. And I think that sort of inspired to sort of pursue it. Like, it always feels good to say something or do something and have people feel good afterwards.
Hey, Luke, let's make sure we let folks know how to get these tickets. They can, because tickets have gone really, really quick for this one. There's not a bad seat in the house, but give a reminder.
Filling up.
Yeah,
it's starting to fill up. You can call 219-836-3255 extension 1 to call the box office, or you can purchase them online at theateratthecenter.com, and the theater has an RE at the end.
And remember, that's this coming Friday. We want to make sure we put a time date on this broadcast. If it's rebroadcast, we come to you today, Tuesday, January the 13th. We're talking about Friday, January the 16th, 7:30 is the show. There's always a cash bar in the lobby to kind of let you celebrate and lift a glass to Friday. And then Michael Palzak is the lead headliner, and we have, again, an opening comic, but just a great afternoon to sit back and relax. People last times when they call, they'll say, well, what kind of comedy is it? Clean comedy? All the clips that I saw, again, were very family friendly, but it's always hard to answer that, Michael, because we don't know each person. So we'll say, that depends on your own sensibilities. Yeah, for the most part, it's not. I don't think there's a whole lot of language here, but is that a hard one for you to answer, or does it just depend on your audience and then you tailor the show to that, Michael?
Oh, no, I don't really tailor anything. I kind of do my thing. But I don't, for people, I sort of just answer the black and white. Like, I don't swear at all, and I don't talk about sex stuff at all. So, like, if you brought your grandma or your kid, they wouldn't have any questions afterwards. But at the same time, I'm a dad. I make fun of being a dad. I make fun of how hard it is to be a dad. So if you are a kid, you might be like, well, I don't appreciate this either. So it's not dirty, but it's definitely like, why are you waking me up every morning, son? Why don't you know how to do cereal yet? You're 7. So, like, yeah, it's definitely available for all ages. When I was a kid, I didn't like it when I couldn't see a movie because my parents said it wasn't. So I always always felt like no matter what people were offended by or not, that they should be able to laugh, and that's what my set is tailored towards.
And Michael, too, in this day and age of social media, you utilize it so well. I mean, back in the day, comedians didn't have this offering of social media, because right, I think you could attest. People see your clips and like, wow, this guy is really good, and they follow you. So, I mean, speak on that a little bit. The use of social media to get your comedy out there.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to be able to know that, like, I did my own special in my hometown of Indiana a couple of years ago, and now I just have it on my computer, and I could put clips out, and then people can see it. That's the best way to find out whether you like it. Just watch it, and a lot of it's out there. The whole thing's on YouTube. It's amazing how we can really control a lot of what people see now, and whether or not there's a lot of eyes on it. When people see it, that you think it'll be good. And that's really valuable.
Michael, my other identity that I have besides hosting this show and my marketing position over at the Center for Visual Performance is I have been a longtime newspaper columnist, and now under the umbrella for Chicago Tribune Media. My family members sometimes will grumble and say, well, just because you've chosen, to be in this profession and to write about your experiences, they don't always appreciate maybe if they're written about, and it can be just simply a memory or this or that. I'm curious, do you get that, or is everybody just throwing confetti in the air when you have them in your act? Or some people you've quietly taken out of your references and your stories?
I've definitely grown with that throughout the years. My parents have been the most supportive. My dad always said that I could say whatever I want as long as they were paying me. That's the accountant, and I think as long as you're getting a check.
Yeah.
But I definitely had friends who I've had stories about, and never like I'm very I don't know. I feel like I'm very fair, very fair, but they don't say anything, but they just kind of stop coming to shows for 5 or 10 years, and that's when I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have made fun of their kids. So they're quiet about it. Like, I kind of wish people would just be like, hey, don't do that when I'm there, or whatever. But they don't. They just kind of leave my life for a decade, and then they come back when they forget why they left.
Well, as they were saying earlier, Michael, that the comedy business can be so difficult to get into. I mean, and we've heard of many who've come to the theater as well that got a little burnt out and had to change careers. If you weren't a comedian, which career would you go down?
Oh.
And that's like a Barbara Walters question.
Felt like yeah, I know. I always felt like stand-up was the most reasonable choice I had. Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to write novels, and then I wanted to be an actor. So I kind of landed on stand-up because it was a very, I don't know, you could just sign up and go up. You don't need an agent. You don't need, eventually it's helpful to have all this stuff. So I think if I was like, couldn't go on the road anymore, I would just start writing and hoping.
It's interesting, Michael, when you're mentioning, and I know that Tony brought up the tool of social media for basically free advertisement. You don't need to take out a billboard. Social media will get that word out and get it to your followers and create your identity as an influencer. When I was first starting to write about, the tool of social media with comics, and maybe when I've interviewed maybe some of the more, established ones like a Jay Leno or some of the folks years back,
yeah,
it was such a blessing or a curse. And I know Dane Cook was the first to kind of embrace using social media, but some of the established comics would say, well, yeah, but you put all this out there and it's your best material and they can see it for free. Why would they ever buy a ticket? But it seems like it's come full circle, like with younger audiences. They see it. They don't mind that maybe they've heard a story. They want to rehear it in person. How do you strike that balance? Do you ever worry about burning up all your best material for free by posting it? Or no, again, folks want to see you for you?
That's a really good question. When I first started posting on social media, I just did stuff that I didn't have to do anymore unless I wanted to do it. Like I had a whole new hour that I wasn't putting on social media, and I put like the other 2 hours on social media. So when people came out to see the show, it was all stuff they hadn't seen before. And people were very appreciative of that, and it went really well. And then now there's a couple things off my special that I do, but I don't necessarily. Once it's on the internet, I don't ever, like some people will retire stuff. I don't ever say goodbye to things forever because, after a couple of years, people might not have seen that clip for a while.
Sure.
But I do try to turn it over, and that is newer to our generation. But that being said, I think it makes us a little better because you can do a joke for a long time and it gets better. But also you could write a new joke, too, every 4 years. Like you could have a new hour every 4 years, and that seems very reasonable and not like you're cutting corners or sacrificing the quality. Like if you're working on the road every week and you're moving stuff in and out and you're having good shows, I feel like you could definitely turn it over. But people that, like, one of my friends was like, you got to put this joke online. Like, that's going to go out when that's kind of done.
Yeah.
I don't put out this stuff. I really value the live experience. Like, some people will travel with camera, and I do have a camera, but they'll have, like, camera people, and they're trying to get all this stuff, right? I think when people buy a ticket to see the show, that's the most important product for me, and that's the most important experience. And if I stay where I'm at forever, then, I'll have to ask my dad for money when I'm old. But in the meantime, I'll be very I feel like the people that will come will be happy. But the thing you were saying earlier about promoting your shows in there, what's cool about social media, I can use any song almost I want to on Instagram to promote a show in my reel. Like it's all free.
Wow.
It's literally, I can put the theme song under me talking about a show, and I don't have to pay for that.
Yeah,
So
Facebook not so much, right?
A lot.
Facebook isn't quite as kind.
That's a good question. I have a thing where it posts over to Facebook. I don't know if songs do it.
Yes, I think there's a little bit more the police that watch over it. Hey, Luke, give a reminder. Who are we talking to, and what's the big event coming up?
Well, we're talking to Michael Palasak. He's the headlining comedian for this Friday's comedy night at the CVPA, 1040 Ridge Road. It's at 7:30 on Friday, and it's $35 a person. You can call the box office for tickets, 219-836-3255, extension 1. Or you can go online and purchase tickets, theateratthecenter.com.
And Michael, are mom and dad still around the Hoosier State, or no? They've relocated to other places now.
Oh yeah, well they're pretty close. When I was when I finished high school, my dad was working in Joliet, and my grandma was in Oak Lawn, so they moved to the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh,
so they're
okay.
not far from where you guys are.
That's a stone's
that
throw.
might actually be the closest show to their house. I should try to get them tickets.
Absolutely. Any tickets you need, we've got some special seats we've set aside. We'll take care of you. You let us know.
Perfect. Yeah, Michael, we're
Can we clarify for me too? It's Central Time, right? 'Cause
Correct.
I know it's Indiana.
Yeah,
but
we're
just
Chicago
because
time. We're
Chicago
Chicago
is
time. Absolutely. Yep. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, Michael, again, we're excited to have you. I mean, and I think, it's the new year. People just want to get out and laugh, right? Holidays are over. Now's a great time for some laughter.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. We're so excited to
I
have
agree.
you. And last thing I want to ask, I'm just curious. This is a fun question I always like to ask. Well, so far in your career, and you're still a pretty young guy that's been out there for a while, who's the one person that you got to rub elbows with in a green room, or you were at some kind of a event or convention or something, and you were able to get on the phone, call mom and dad, call a friend and say, okay, you won't believe this. I was just talking to, or I happened to just meet so-and-so who was testing out some material here at Zanies. Any notable folks like that you've been in awe of, that you got to kind of cross paths with so far?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the great part about being a comedian. Like, it's just almost a casualty of the business that you're going to work with people like that who go on the road. But the coolest one for me, I think, was my first time when I did the Tonight Show. The guests, Jay was hosting, which was really cool, and then the guests were Steve Carell and Jane Lynch, and Steve Carell shook my hand and asked where I was from, and that was I loved The Office, and that was while The Office was going on, and he was it was very special to be in their company.
Absolutely. And Jane Lynch is one of our other local notables. She's from Dalton, Illinois, just about 10 minutes away from our Performing Arts Center. So we love everything that's Jane Lynch. And we love all the fact that we've got you coming, Michael, this coming Friday. We ask you to rest up and safe travels to you, and our audiences are warm and welcoming, and we'll be excited to be able to host you, to have you be a part of our comedy night at the CVPA, making your debut on our stage. And again, we hope to have you back soon as well. You've been a fan favorite, and you haven't even said a word yet.
That's how I like it.
Very good. So rest up and safe travels to you, Michael, and we'll see you at our Comedy Night performance this coming Friday. And again, tickets available, 219-836-3255. And we will see you down the road. And thank you, all the folks there tuned in as our listeners and viewers, for this edition of Notoriety.